And we have Kurt Deimer joining us today to talk about his new single with Josh Todd from Buck Cherry called In Deep. How you doing today, Kurt?
Good. How are you, man?
Good. I'm doing great. I had a chance to check out this video and the new single. It's a killer track. Definitely strikes a chord with anybody who's a Buck Cherry fan, but definitely fits into the Kurt Deimer catalog perfectly, right in there with And So It Begins. So excited for fans to finally hear this and get a chance to talk about it.
Yeah. We're always trying to continually evolve, and I want to put my best foot forward. And when Josh and I came together on this, it was quite a blessing, and hopefully our fans really dig it, and we'll get a lot of new fans from it.
So tell us a little bit about how that collaboration begins, because I know you were on the Steel Panther tour with Buck Cherry. So did that friendship just evolve from that, and how did it lead to a collaboration in the studio?
Yeah, we were up in Canada touring with some U.S. states, but with Steel Panther and Buck Cherry, we were the first of three. And we had done several shows with Buck Cherry in the past. We've done shows, just the two of us, and we did some of those up in Canada. So we got our crews know each other real well, and uh, Josh and I, knew of each other, but we're both pretty to ourselves on tour until we do our show, and then we got to move on to the next city. But I would, I always find my way to a little place I can smoke and have a drink later at night. And I happened to be in one of the casinos in Canada's bar that allowed you to smoke inside, and with Buck Cherry's tour manager and a couple of the other guys, a couple of my guys. And I said, I'd really love to do a collab with Josh sometime. I think we vibe together well with my deep voice and his killer, unique voice. And I mean, both our voices are pretty unique. And he took it to Josh, and then my tour manager Devin Moore, and a few days later said Josh is up to doing a collab. And then we got done with Canada. We're up finishing a few dates, and we went up to Minnesota with just Buck Cherry and us. And Josh and I talked outside during the day and exchanged numbers. And he said I'd love to do it. I sent him the song, which used to be called "He Was Good to Me." That all the music you hear, the riffs and all that's the original song. And a couple days later, he said, I'd love to do the collab with you, but I want to write my own lyrics to it. And those need to change, and then I'll put my name on it with you. And a few weeks later, we're in Chris Lord-Alge's studio. We did all our homework up front. He brought in the new lyrics. We knew what they were. We recorded it, and a few days later, did a music video, and here we are. So that's how that all went down, and I can't thank Josh enough for believing in the song and for adding the killer lyrics that he did to make it the song it is today.
So it's about finding that common ground in terms of your musical chemistry when you're collaborating with an artist in the studio like Josh Todd.
Yeah, common ground, but we know each other's vibe. I mean, he's seen me play many times. I've seen them play many times. We've toured together, so we kind of knew each other's vibe. But when we got in the studio, and Josh gets into Josh Todd mode. I mean, he was in full mode into the song, moving his hands, shirt off, signature Josh Todd in the vocal booth. And I knew he was really digging the vibe and the tune. And we just had such a good time. And Chris Lord-Alge was having a great time with it. And we just really put all our energy into it. And then we did the video. He goes, whatever you want me to look like, blah, and he's just out there just into it like he would be if it was, one of his big hits. And it's like we all got that sense that the song was something special. And I think even when he first heard the first mix from Chris, he said, "What a monster! We built a monster," or something like that. So yeah, it was really cool process, man. He was really cool to work with.
in a day and age where most collaborations are done, via email, the people, can just exchange files. Seeing, that creative process for Josh and see him get fired up in the studio, does that sort of fire you up to level up as well and go that extra mile to make the song the best it can possibly be?
Oh, yeah, it just reinforces what I do. I mean, Josh has been doing this for what, over 30 years now. I just got back into this 3, 4 years ago, and but I didn't get to where I am today without having that fire and that passion that people don't see uh, behind the scenes. They just see. I mean, I'm a very chill and laid back guy, but if you come to see one of our shows live, that'll blow you away, and they're only going to keep getting better and better. And what I witnessed with Josh just reinforced more. Just be who you are, stay true to who you are, and if 1% of the world likes who you are, you're going to grow and touch a lot of lives. And for those who don't like the way you are, it's fine. It's all good. Not everybody likes everything, and it's all cool. But for those that do, that's why I do what I do. And Josh just reinforced that what I'm doing and how I've lived. And he's done the same thing. We've overcome adversity in our past, we've overcome addictions in our past, and we've stayed true to who we are in our heart and soul. And I think that shines through in our collab together. That's two dudes who have fought for everything that they've gotten in life. And here we are.
You mentioned the live show, and the one I've seen you live a couple times now, but it definitely really sold it to and drove it home once I saw the live show, just because there's so much energy coming off that stage. You really feel the connection between you and the audience, and I think the songs translate well into the live setting as well, where it's just like sort of a complete package where live just goes over so well with you.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, it's that's the most important part. I mean, you can play a song, you can listen to it, you can get all the critiques, all that stuff, and but when you until you hear us live and you see that I truly am, and my band now is, we're here for the people. I'm a man of the people. I'm not afraid of what's going on in the world. I've got stories to tell from my life that hopefully I can share with others and inspire them. And hopefully, people dig the way we're doing it. We'll continue to evolve. We'll continue to do all different forms of our music. Whether it be leaning a little more country rock or a little harder or right down the middle. I mean, nobody wants to hear the same thing over and over again. And I think that's a lot of the successful artists today. I mean, my friend Post Malone comes to mind. I mean, he has been all over the board, and Jelly Roll been all over the board. I mean, they're very successful. They're not trapped into that. Okay, you have to be Kurt because you have a deep voice of Southern rock guy. I don't. I can experiment, do all kinds of stuff, and it'll resonate or it won't.
I think one of the cool things that the trends that's currently happening in music is like the breaking of the barriers. And you mentioned Post Malone and Jelly Roll. Like I think they're sort of at the forefront of that. You got Jelly Roll, who just crossed over to the and got embraced by the rock community, and then eventually his lovable personality got him embraced by the country world, and he's now bringing over people and like you got Post Malone doing it as well. Hardy's really making some inroads into to rock, and he's a country guy. Even Tim Montana, like a Southern guy, but his rock stuff kicks ass.
Yeah, don't pigeonhole yourself, and if you dig it and you can get that 1% to dig it, you're on your way. And I'm going to continue to push boundaries. I'm going to continue to work to do it. I have a song that I want to do a collab on with the Post or Jelly, and we'll be reaching out to them, and hopefully that'll be a big one as well. But you have to take steps. And when I first got back into music, Jeff Tate kind of took me under his wing and was a mentor and what I was creating at the time. And I've done killer tune with him and have another killer tune with him coming out on the second album. And then Josh Todd, the next collab. Who might the next be? Let's see what happens as we continue to evolve as the band Kurt Deimer. So
You mentioned being a storyteller, and one of the things that I appreciate about your songwriting ability is your sense of storytelling is sort of unmatched. From the second that you hit play on "So It Begins," you're sort of taking listeners on a journey, and I think that's sort of been missing from music to a certain extent, especially as we like you get into like a singles market, that sort of thing. The whole complete package of an album and uh the journey that it takes you on, I think is cool about your record.
oh, thank you. That's what I intended. I mean, since I started recording stuff a few like 4 years ago, Chris and I have been building up, over 30 base of songs, and they're just sitting in Dropbox files. And I'm like, let's do a debut double album. We had put that EP out, Work Hard, Rock Hard, that's done well. But let's do a debut double album like the ones I used to love back in the day, and let's tell the story and introduce Kurt Deimer to everyone. And that's just in its infancy right now. I mean, we're starting to market that all over. And I think if people have an open mind and purchase And So It Begins, it'll take you on a journey. It won't pigeonhole you into we're the same song. It's the same song over and over again. And if you listen to the lyrics, they're coming from my heart and experiences in my life and beliefs that I have, about being a good person, being respectful to people, taking care of each other, just the simple principles that we've lost in life for whatever reason. Um, and I just want to reimpose those on people and just make them think, we don't have to be mean to each other. We don't have to be short with each other. We don't have to treat each other with disrespect. It's just we have one life. Let's all get along. Let's have a good time. And this album hopefully takes you on that journey where you can really go get introspective with it and let it take you on that ride. And maybe you walk away with one song touching you in a way that you didn't think was possible, and it enhances your life. So that's what I've tried to do with that, and just introduce the world to who Kurt Deimer is. And that's why I called it And So It Begins, because the second album, which by the way is killer, as yeah, I don't know if I can cuss on this show or not, but it's
You
killer.
can cuss.
And it's fucking badass. And it's gonna be an epic album that will draw even more attention, as that's why I want to put it out as soon as possible as well, to the tail of it. So it begins, and you'll see the progression in my musical journey.
And speaking of the record, on this record, you obviously have some heavy hitters. Phil X is on there. He co-wrote a bunch of the songs with you. He plays some incredible guitar licks on this thing. What was it about the musical chemistry with Phil that allowed you to gel so well and write so many songs together?
Phil and I met 2020 when Chris took me under his wing when I brought my demo out to LA, and he was the studio guy for Chris on some of Chris's projects on guitar. And he laid down that solo for Have a Cigar, the first song I ever put out, the cover of Pink Floyd's Have a Cigar, which by the way is on And So It Begins as well. And then it goes into this really cool, trippy rendition of my version of Riders on the Storm, the way I interpret it. But anyways, um, that's when I met Phil, and even during COVID, we shot the music video for Have a Cigar, and we just got along great. He's a great dude, and a lot of family similarities. And I had a bunch of other tunes, just or lyrics, just sitting around, and I'd written pretty much everything up until then with Ben Trexel. So you want to always experiment with other people's visions and the way they interpret things. So I had that song "Naive," and I think that's the first one. And I just said, this is, I've been getting screwed, and this is what happens in life when you go for it, and you got to take your lumps, and you got to keep fighting for what's right, and I got to share this with people. And he came back with it. He was so stoked. He goes, "This song bangs," and we've been playing it ever since. Then we did Back at the School. Then it just kept going from there, and it's been a great ride, that I had with Phil, and I appreciate everything he's done to contribute to where I am today in music because I think we did some really killer tunes together with him and then Ben Trexel, and that's what you hear on And So It Begins. Those are my two writing partners, and then with Chris Lord-Alge's touches as well. So that's what you hear on And So It Begins.
And you mentioned earlier Jeff Tate, which is that's I Burn Together is actually one of my favorite tracks. That song feels like it could be ripped out of the Queensryche catalog, and Jeff's vocal work on that track is incredible.
Yeah, Burn Together. Once my management at the time had set up my first tour ever was fall of 21 with Jeff Tate. He agreed to have me as his direct support and then to do a song with me and a video. And I wasn't sure which one I wanted to do. This is still pretty early on in my evolution getting back into this. And I told Chris Lord-Alge, I just said, Burn Together, I think would be really cool. His voice doing the echoes and the higher parts mixed with my low voice telling the tale of how the family unit has just kind of been set to the wayside, and it contributes to a lot of the problems we have in society. Jeff loved it, came in. We did the same thing Josh and I did at Chris Lord-Alge's studio, had dinner at Chris's that night with his family and everybody, and it was just a magical experience. And then, about a month later, we met out in the desert, 115-degree weather, just dying, and did shot the video with him and Phil X, and that's how that came about. But he let me pick which song I thought would be the best, and I thought Burn Together would be it. And Jeff Tate put all of Jeff Tate into that, and can't thank him enough for it.
You mentioned a couple
Because
times
Ben
that you're already
Trexel and I have written. Ben
Go ahead.
Trexel, just give him credit. I had written the lyrics, and Ben Trexel is the one who did the music to it. He was my first writing partner, and it was actually one of our demos I took out to California. I just wanted to give credit where credit's due to Ben as well.
That song's definitely incredible. So, and you mentioned a couple times that you're already in the studio working on new tracks. In Deep is the first of, I guess, taste of new music for the next record. What can you tell us about that next record?
The next record is fucking killer, badass, and it is going to blow people's minds, and you're going to see that it's like Kurt Deimer and the band, Marco, myself, Eli, and Chris, we're just taking that next step into a level that I never really could have imagined happening. It's just rock and roll with maybe a little country, but one or two, or just, continuing that different vibe in every song, but really catchy, really going to be great live, the whole album when we play it live. In fact, we'll probably record a live album once these songs are introduced in the set and we're doing more headline shows. We'll do that for sure. But it's just, it's hard to describe. You can just tell it. You can feel it in your soul and in your bones that this is This is the next step. It's like, what's the best way to describe it? It's like when AC/DC put out Highway to Hell, okay, and everybody loved Highway to Hell, and there's some good catchy tunes on there. And then they put out Back in Black, eventually, and it just elevates them to the next level. It's like U2, they put out Boy, and then they put out War, and Under a Blood Red Sky. It's that kind of progression, and I feel it. I really do feel that that's what's happening with us now.
You commonly hear artists talk about it, but some of the best things are just sort of happy mistakes or things that come naturally in the studio. So, like, if you have to force anything creatively, it's generally that's not going to work. So to hear that it comes naturally and that you feel it is definitely a positive sign that you're onto something for sure.
Yeah, I'm not forcing it. I own my own record label, Bald Man Records. Own my own film company, Bald Man Films. I have nobody putting pressure on me. I don't write lyrics because I have to write lyrics. I write them when they come into my brain, whether it's 10 at night, 2 in the morning, whenever, and I roll with the vibe. You can't force art. Art has to come out of you naturally, you know, not provoked. Just it just has to come out of you at the time it wants to come out of you, and that's art. You can't force it. And I think too many um, bit bands in the past and musicians have gotten deals with labels and whatnot, and they're forced to put something out on a timeline, and it's just not as good as true, real, raw art that comes out when you least expect it. That's my opinion.
In addition to being a musician, you're also an accomplished actor and filmmaker. You've been in, John Carpenter's Halloween, films with John Travolta like Trading Paint. Um, it's pretty incredible when you take a look at the your IMDb page and then match it up to what you're doing on the music side. It's so cool to see.
Yeah, that's kind of how it all started. I got into that John Travolta movie, Trading Paint, unexpectedly. Just happened. Wasn't forced. Went down to do a cameo. They offer me a speaking role. Now I'm acting with John Travolta. Then I get into Halloween. 2 months, 3 months later, I get to be killed by Michael Myers in the John Carpenter, real sequel. That's amazing. I'm on the short list there, and that inspired me to want to do Hellbilly Hollow, which is my another movie I have coming out that I produced and starred in along with Kevin Wayne, where we're a horror duo, and I'm a complete psychopath, not like the Kurt in everyday life, and it's very entertaining and a fun ride. And all of that stepping stone stuff. And when after I got into shot Hellbilly Hollow down in Alabama after I was in Halloween. I was down there, and the guys I was working with, they had a studio, and Ben Trexel was one of their friends, and he had these tunes that this one gentleman had written, Mike Denard. And I said, well, let me put my voice to it. I haven't sang in like 30 years, but I love it. I always wish I would have done it or could have done it. It just wasn't possible at that time because I would have probably just ended up dead because of what stage I was in life. And we did those songs, and that helped us get into writing together. And I said, I'm going to do acting and music. So that's all that happened. The next thing you know, I'm shooting Scared to Death with Lynn Shay and Bill Moseley, two of my idols from acting that I never knew, and now we're great friends because of that experience. And it just keeps going. I got more movies than that now. I've got 4 movies in the can coming out over the next 12, 13, 14 months. So that's how
Not
it
a
all
lot of people
progressed,
can
though, from that 2017 to now.
Not a lot of people can say that they've been killed on screen by Michael Myers. It's a pretty cool feather in the cap.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. I didn't think much of it at the time. I'm like, is this going to be like a fight scene? Is this going to be crazy? It's just the way they do it. It was amazing. And I laid on that counter for like 4 hours. Makeup was like 3 hours with the prosthetic. And then we get, David Gordon Green's directing it, iconic. And that one scene, you'll see it if you watch the movie. It's Halloween 18. They were going to put a dummy in the gurney. And I said, no, David, you spent all this, because they're always worried about the actor, which I've learned. I didn't know any of that before. And I just said, look, you've already done all this stuff. Just zip me up in the body bag and shine in on the, flash or shoot it, the camera on this great work that Christopher Nelson did on my face. And that's how we did it. And he loved it, and you got to be willing to do whatever and you have to do to make it great for the customer, for the fan, for the viewer, for the people who like the movies, and that's I put everything I have into everything I do, including the music, and I just give it my all on whatever I've ever done in life, and that's how I've gotten to where I am today. I don't give up. Tell me I can't do it. I'm going to do it even harder. And negativity doesn't bother me at all because it's like a thick cloud around all of us as individuals. So I just keep positive and keep moving forward.
So, what can you tell us about the new horror film "Scared to Death"? The like having seen an advanced cut of this, that I love this film. It's great.
It is it's kind of a if you've seen it, it's kind of a horror comedy. It's a great ensemble cast. It kind of it's like a Knives Out vibe, if you will, but it's a different story, obviously. But it's just working aside Bill Moseley. We did a lot of improv. Lynn and I did a lot of improv. I play a horror icon called the Grog, which is pretty much me. The mannerisms and whatnot. The director said, "You be you." Just the way Kurt Deimer is, because you are the Grog, you're Gregory Grogstone. You've been in, so I've just got my big heart, but I'm a horror icon, and I love to reflect back on my movies that I was in the past. Bill and I do a lot of that. You're gonna laugh, you're gonna jump, you're gonna be able to follow the story pretty easily because we try to keep it on that straight path to where you're gonna, there's still twists and turns, but it's Bill does a great job of bringing the viewer up to speed with what's going on in this house, and we're doing a practice seance for a movie that the Grog's going to star in for this production company, and it just everything goes awry. And I think you get great performances from the whole cast. It's very diverse, and it's definitely a movie you need to go get some popcorn, see it in the theater, get a Coke or something with it, and you're just going to sit there and just enjoy it, and you're going to get laughs and jumps. It's going to leave you feeling like, oh man, that was fun. I'm glad I went and saw that movie. It's a fun one.
Was it intimidating at all to work with like a horror legend like Bill Moseley on a screen?
No, it was the first day we were in the van getting shuttled from the wardrobe trailer over to the set, and Bill's sitting behind me in the van. I'm pretty quiet. Got my beanie on, all that. It's the first time we met. We shook hands. He goes, "I'm your biggest fan, Grog." It's like because he's my biggest fan, and that's how we broke the ice. And Bill and I have been great friends ever since. Every time I'm in LA, we'll go out to dinner and just chat. He'll come support me. He's been to my shows at the Whiskey. He came down to the Viper Room last April, and we're even thinking we might do a podcast together, and hopefully horror fans will love that, and just have fun like we did on set, and continue our friendship, and sharing our craziness with everybody, even off the screen. So Bill's great, and I love my character in Hellbilly Hollow. I modeled a lot after Bill's role as Otis in um, Devil's Rejects, which is my favorite horror movie before we did Scared to Death. And I thought Bill was awesome and crazy in that, and just admired him so much. He was really somebody I modeled my, you know, acting career at before I met Bill. And he was amazing, and Lynn was amazing. We're really good friends now. Go to dinner, have wine at her house, whatever. She's so funny. Has worked so hard her whole life. So it's such an amazing person, and it was really a blessing to be able to star alongside those two in Scared to Death. And I hope people go out to see it. It'll be coming to theaters soon, and I think you're really going to enjoy it. And you'll see more of the Grog for sure coming up in the future.
So was developing that character, and I know you're developing it for later as well, but like developing the character of the Grog, was it just sort of a happy accident where it's like, hey, this character has, meat left on the bones where I could, develop it for like a franchise, horror.
Well, Paul Boyd, the director, and myself had worked on this about a year and a half or two before we brought it. Went to set to film it, and he had rewritten part of it. I think Lynn was going to play the original part, but then we moved Lynn to work to Maxine, and then Paul wrote the Grog into the movie, Gregory Grogstone. So I have to give Paul a lot of credit. And, all I really did was we just talked about how we're going to have the character come to life. We're going to build this lore around the Grog. We can create all these old movies he was in that maybe we shoot later for the fans. And just this introduces the world of the Grog. And the Grog can do many things, and the Grog will live on. He is not afraid in the movie of what's going on when you see it. And, he's a man of character and a man of who just improvs and tells a tale and shares his life. But he's like a big, gentle giant horror icon, and there's a lot we can do with that for everybody in the future. And I can't wait to just be, build the legend of the Grog all over the world. So, because I am the Grog.
It feels like horror is in such a like a healthy place right now. Like The Conjuring just came out, topped the box office. Terrifier
Yeah,
like set all these crazy records. You have Toxic Avenger, which is like the remake is an unrated film, but yet it had a theatrical release. So I just think like how healthy the horror genre is as a whole right now. That it's definitely one of the things that they can sort of prop up as a success within the movie industry right now.
yeah, it's they're a lot of fun, and there's a big culture built around horror. I don't want to just be pigeonholed in horror, but I want to bring fun to horror as well as, no, I can play the psychopath or I can play the catatonic schizophrenic, which I'm going to be doing here pretty soon. Um, or I also shot a movie in February with Andy Gould, who did House of a Thousand Corpses and The Devil's Rejects. He produced those with Bill, ironically. And I told Bill, Otis can step aside, Michael Myers can step aside, Jason, they've all built this pathway to the rancher. And they wanted me to just play a character in the movie where I got killed by the rancher. I said, the only way I'll be in the movie is if I'm the next horror icon, the rancher, the masked killer. So we've got that coming out. That's called Pandemic Sex Party. That's fun. It's going to blow people's minds if they like Terrifier and other stuff. It's even on the same level or crazier. And we have that next big horror icon coming. But then on the flip side, about a month or two ago, I finished filming a movie called Relapse, and I play the rock star dad of a up and coming pop star, my daughter, and who has a fentanyl or drug addiction and has an overdose and whatnot. And we're going to bring awareness to fentanyl addiction and the problems that plague our society today. So, and that's more of a dramatic role. So, I've got a lot going on, a lot of other ideas, a lot of movies, scripts, and Bald Man Films is here to stay, and it's going to keep growing. And I've even got a lot of other people coming at me wanting me to be in their movies or help produce them and be in them. But I'm at the point now I got to pick and choose what makes the most sense for my fans out there.
Is it just about following your creative muse wherever it takes you in terms of like whether to go right and do music or go left and follow something in film?
No, I'm going to do both always. It's just I've got to use. There's so many people that come at me to do things ever since I got into this because of what I did in the past. I started my own oil company above my garage in '99 that now is all over the world. Now it runs itself. So I was a target um, saying I get all these opportunities coming in. I just got to go with my gut. I got to listen to my, my management, my lawyer, and decide what's the right projects, what's not. And at the end of the day, pretty much most of the things I've ever done that have been successful in my life has been my own projects because I had more control over it. And it wasn't just everybody's hand in the cookie jar. It was me, and I controlled my own destiny. And that's what I'll continue to do in music as well as my movies and film. Yeah, whether I'm in somebody else's film or it's one of our own productions, I'll go with my gut and do what I think is best for Kurt Deimer and the brand and for our fans.
That's one of the coolest things that's come out of the digital age is that that sense of independence where you can own your own masters in music. You can put out your own record with simply one of the distribution services, and now you're seeing on the film side as well, like a movie like Terrifier, which can be shot on a shoestring budget, can compete at the box office.
Oh yeah, yeah. Movies. Some of these movies with these big budgets, I applaud them for doing what they do, and that's their art and that's their vision. But I want to bring more back the movie that you're more focused on the acting and the storytelling and the raw kind of cool energy of it. Kind of like now we take videos on our phones, but there's just something cool about that. I remember back in the day, my parents would take videos, family videos on those cameras with the little tape roll, and, the little pop in. Then it went to the pop in tape and the beta or whatever, all that shit. But before that, it was like reels. Then you'd sit at home on and watch them on the projector. You know,
Yeah.
I think there's a really coolness a cool vibe to just make it simplicity. That I think simplicity is gone from a lot of the stuff coming out, and people really want to see a good raw story told in a really cool way. Like I love the way Breaking Bad did what they did. The director and producer of that. It was just felt kind of more raw and just keeping things simple and cool and telling that story. That's you go see a play. You're not seeing a bunch of CGI and shit. You're seeing actors on stage raw, and for the most part, and people dig that shit. And but at least my Bald Man Films is going to be doing a lot of that stuff, and hopefully people are really going to dig it, and it's going to kind of help revive that type of filmmaking with what other people are doing as well.
Halloween's just around the corner. I know there's some guys in rock and metal, guys like Phil Anselmo, Spencer from Ice Nine Kills, go all out for Halloween. What's Kurt Deimer's house look like for Halloween?
Uh, Not like, well, I don't have a house. I mean, nothing because I'm never home. So what's my tour bus going to look like, hopefully, for Halloween? My hotel room going to look like for Halloween? It won't look like much. But yeah, Spencer, I get a kick out of it. I kill Spencer actually in Pandemic Sex Party. He's one of the people I kill, which him and I become good friends as well. He's cool. And he's got a lot of that horror energy. And hopefully we'll be doing something together here in the future. But I don't know. I kind of, when I first started, I was more like, okay, I got to dress up in black. I got to do this. I got to, the more I evolve now, it's more about being Kurt Deimer and who Kurt Deimer is, not a puppet, and just being an everyday man. I can wear a white t-shirt on stage if I want, and blue jeans, and just be a man of the people. And I just can't imagine, maybe I'll evolve and wear weird shit tied to some of my movies and stuff, but I couldn't imagine putting on some little costume and do it. It's just, then you don't know who I am. You know what I mean? Not that I don't appreciate or value, a lot of the artists that do that stuff, that's their niche. That's cool. That's how they feel. That's what they should do. I just feel like I owe it to my fans to be strong and just be an everyday guy and who goes out and does his thing, and that's just my niche, and that's what I can, plan on continuing to do, and not being who I'm not. So, and I think every artist should do that. And the people that are like David Bowie, that was David Bowie, and he was great at it. But that was David Bowie's personality. That was his niche. That's the kind of music he wrote. And I intend to keep writing. If I'm writing music for the people, because I want them to resonate and learn things from the lyrics and just rock out with me. Then I'll just be me the way I am and evolve the way the fans want me to. So right now, I just feel like I just need to be a man of the people and be strong and let them know there is hope in the world.
You have to do what feels authentic to you.
That's it. You got to be authentic to you. And never really been into Halloween. Not that I don't like Halloween, but I'd rather be working on Halloween and doing a big show and maybe showing our movies and doing that for the people and the fans. And who knows? Maybe I will end up doing so. I mean, I'm working on a character now for a song I wrote called "Scared to Death" for the movie "Scared to Death," and we're going to do a music video for it. Maybe I'll shoot that on Halloween. We'll see.
I could see you in like a number of roles, and like even like extending into like a comic book thing where you're writing your own, storytelling in that format. I could see you adapting to a number of, genres. So,
Well, we could do the Grog comics. I could do, the Kurt Deimer story of life would blow people away. Everything I've been through, near death, drugs, all that shit. How I've gotten to where I am with no inheritance, money, or anything. That would blow you away. But I do have an animated series that we've got 20 episodes now. We're getting ready to do the art, and it's called Baby G, and it's Baby Grog, and I wear a diaper, and I look like the Grog, and I have tats, and it's funny as fuck. So we got Baby G in production with Bald Man Films, and hopefully that'll be coming to you on Cartoon Network or Adult Swim, and it's pretty bizarre, but I'm the voice, I'm Baby G, and it's Baby Grog, and it's funny, really, really funny, and I almost forget about that. I got that project going because it's been going on, but it's you guys will be blown away. You'll laugh all of it if you like Beavis and Butthead and all that other stuff that's on TV, King of the Hill, all that. This is even funnier. So I got that coming out. So yeah, voiceovers in the future. I can do comics. There's so many things to do. I just got to get it done. So, and now I finally feel like I have a team that gets what I'm all about and can make all this happen. So it's just one day at a time.
I love it. The possibilities are endless. So there's a ton going on. I appreciate you joining us today. So for anybody who hasn't checked it out, they should definitely check out And So It Begins. It's such a great record. So and In Deep is just another a great addition to your catalog. So
yeah, it'll kind of introduce you to the vibe of the second album, and we've been out hitting the pavement, going to radio stations. They're already admitting they want to play it in the rotation all day, and we'll keep doing that. Hopefully, be a town near you soon. I'd love to put together a small town America tour, get the people involved, the fans, go to record stores, help charities in the areas, and just bring our show on the road. And when we can headline, you'll hear even a lot more. And we don't not on a 30 or 45-minute time on it. So I can't wait. Can't wait to see you guys.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining us again, and I appreciate your time.
Always, brother.